Hello student, the, today we are going to learn the C++ chapter and the topic is object oriented programming. Now this object oriented programming is the important topic as exam point of view. There are some subtopics we are going to learn, that is the features of object oriented programming, the difference between the procedural oriented programming and the object oriented programming, and the uses of the object oriented programming. Okay, let us see the features of object oriented programming. There are 6 features. First one is a classes, second is a object, next is a polymorphism, then inheritance, encapsulation and abstraction. Very first we see the class. Okay, now a class is nothing but a data type that has its own member, that is nothing but data members and the member function. Own members means data members and the member function. Okay, later we see what is the data member and the member function. Okay, it is a blueprint of an object in an object oriented programming language. Okay, it is a basic building block of a object. It is basic means building block means it is a main block of a object oriented programming. Okay, using a class you can create a programs. That's why it is a building block of a object oriented programming. Now the members of a class are access. Now members means nothing but the data members, and the member functions are access using the instance of a class. Now instance of a class is nothing but a object of that class. Okay, some important properties of a class are nothing but a class is a user defined data type, right? And that class contain a member like a data member and the member function. Now the data members are the variable. Now see what is the data member and the member function. Now see, whenever we create any class, very first we write the class name. Okay, let us see here the class. So class is a keyword we use, then we write a class name. For example, suppose I write a class and a class name, suppose I write a ABC. So class is a keyword, ABC is a class name, then one bracket is open. Okay, then data type and a data name. So whatever this data name we provide, that is nothing but the variables, and that variables are nothing but the data member of a class. For example, suppose I write integer a comma b. Okay, so this a and b are the variables, and that variables are inside my class. That's why these variables are called as the data member of a class. Understand? Now member functions are nothing but the method that are used to manipulate the data members. Now member function is nothing but the function, that function you are going to use in your class. So see the syntax: return type, method name. For example, suppose I have a function void print. Okay, and I print a comma b semicolon. So whatever value of a and b I am going to print using a function void print. Okay, so that void is nothing but a return type, and print is my method name, and a and b are the parameters. Okay, likewise you can create a class, and class always ends with a semicolon. Likewise semicolon you have to give. Okay, so this is one example of how to create a class, and this is the data members, and these are the member function, nothing but the method of that class. Understood this? Okay, now let us see the next feature, that is the object. Now object is an instance of a class. Instance of a class means whenever you create any class, last time we create a class ABC, so whenever you have to create an instance of a class, you have to write the first name of that class. For example, I write here instance of a class ABC, so I have to write first, sorry, I have to write a, I have to write A, B, C. Then I create an instance of a class, suppose X. So X is the object of my class ABC. X is nothing but the object. So object is what? Object is an instance of a class. So X is the instance of my class ABC. Understand this? So it is an entity which has a characteristics and a behavior that is used in a object oriented programming. So this object is an entity that is created to allocate a memory. So whenever I create a object X has a return type class, that is a ABC. So whenever I create a X, it will allocate a memory space. Okay, some memory space is allocated whenever we create a instance, that is a object. And when that memory is allocated, when our program is finished, the object is not in use, that memory we have to deallocate. Okay, so whenever you create any instance of a class, means whenever you create any object of the class, that memory is automatically allocated. Okay, so syntax is class name space object name. ABC is my class name, X is my object name. Likewise you can create an object of a class. Okay, now next feature is nothing but the polymorphism. Now polymorphism, the word polymorphism means, poly means many and morphism means form. It means it refers to the ability of a object oriented programming language to differentiate between entity with the same name. Okay, it means, for example, I have one function ABC, and again I have a function print, and again I have a second function print. Both the name of the function is print and print, but my first function, suppose I have a function print, okay, and that printer A, and I have a second function print A comma B. Okay, both the name of that function is same, it means form is the same, polymorphism, but it will perform a multiple task. First function print will only print A, second print will print the value of A and B, and first one will print the value of A only. Okay, but the name of the function is same. How it differs? It differs by the number of argument and the argument list A, and in the second function A comma B. Likewise it will differentiate between the entities with the same name. Name is the same, function name is same, but whatever parameters are used, the number of parameters and the type of parameters are different. That's why it will perform the multiple tasks. That's why it is a polymorphism, and there are two type of a polymorphism: compile time polymorphism, runtime polymorphism. And in that compile time polymorphism we have a function overloading, operator overloading, and in runtime polymorphism we have the example virtual function. Okay, now see the inheritance concept. Now inheritance means to inherit some property from the base class, and you have to create one new derived class. For example, I have a base class, suppose we have a base class parent, and I derive a property and we create a new class, a child. So this parent is one class, child is one another class. So parent class is called as a base class, child class is called as a derived class. So inheritance is a mechanism in which one class is allowed to inherit the features of another class. It means, suppose parent have some property, suppose parent have a property of a drawing, and that property is inherited in child. Okay, so this is a mechanism in which one class is allowed to inherit the another class features. Okay, likewise inheritance is there. There are 5 types of inheritance: single inheritance, multiple inheritance, multi-level, hierarchical and a hybrid inheritance that we see later in this chapter in detail. Okay, now you just understand what is the concept of a inheritance, that is the mechanism to create one class from base class. Okay, now the next topic is encapsulation. Now encapsulation means, you know the word capsule. Capsule means some, or whatever material is there, that material is wrapped together. Okay, so now in object oriented programming we have a data and a information, right? Data and information. So in object oriented programming, encapsulation is the concept of wrapping together of data and information in a single unit. Understand this? It means you have to hide the data. A formal definition of encapsulation would be binding together the data and the related function that can be manipulate the data. Okay, now this encapsulation concept will provide the concept of data hiding, that is the data abstraction. Now due to encapsulation, abstraction is a possible. Now the next feature is a abstraction. Now abstraction is nothing but the data hiding. So data abstraction is a property by virtue of which only the essential details are displayed to the user. Okay, for example, suppose you have one car. You know only how to start the car, but you don't know what is engine actually working. That means the essential data, that is, to start a car you have a key, so that details only you know, but the trivial or the non-essential units are not displayed to the user. Okay, which are not necessary to. So this concept is nothing but data abstraction, means data hiding. Whatever necessary information is there, only that information is displayed to the user. That is the concept of a data abstraction. Okay, now let us see the difference between a procedural oriented programming and the object oriented programming. This topic we already learned, but it is important at exam point of view. That's why again I am repeating this topic, that is a traditional procedural oriented programming and the object oriented programming approach. Very first, in this approach the problem is viewed as a sequence of a thing, and in object oriented programming each problem is divided into number of entities, and that entities are called as the object. Okay, and second is emphasis on doing thing, and in object oriented programming emphasis on data rather than the procedure. And the third point is nothing but large programs are divided into the smaller programs, which are nothing but functions of that program. Okay, and in object oriented programming the programs are divided into entities. Small entities are there, and that small entities are nothing but the object of the class. Okay, for example, see, suppose one program is there. So in this procedural oriented programming, one module is executed, after that second module is executed, after that third module is executed. So in this program sequences follow, emphasis on doing the things. Likewise, whatever HTML programs we see, so you follow the sequence. That is the example of a traditional programming approach. But in object oriented programming like a C++, one program is there, that main program is divided into small object or a small entities. Okay, together that all entities are performed and integrated and one problem is solved. But in traditional, a sequence is follow. Okay, one sequence is follow. So the next difference is data move openly around them from function to function. So this one module have function, second module have a function, so data is openly moved. But in this object oriented programming, data is hidden and cannot be accessed by the external function. Okay, and the last is nothing but emphasis on top down. See, it starts from the top and end at the bottom approach. But in object oriented programming, it follow a bottom up, because the small objects are first executed, then it will integrate and it will perform the whole program. That's why it is a bottom up approach. This follow the bottom up approach, and this one follow the top down approach. All these objects are first solved and then main program is solved. That's why it is a bottom up approach. Okay, understand this? Okay, now we are going to learn some uses of this object oriented programming. Now the object oriented programming uses a real life entity examples, like that's why the uses are also the real life uses, like a user interface design such as a window, menu. All these are created using object oriented programming. It is a real time system. Okay, simulation and a modeling like applications are created. Object oriented databases are created. It means you can enter some data into the databases, you can read the data from the databases. That means a real time system is created. AI and the expert system. AI is nothing but the artificial intelligence which is used to create the robots, like games and the all type of applications you can create. Okay, neural network and the parallel programming, decision support and the office automation system, all are the applications that you are going to create using the object oriented programming. Thank you.